Okay, so we are now on to the next stage here, and there's one important thing I want to show you before we begin, and that is that as I was uploading this thing, I realized that I had made a typo. Now, it doesn't merit redoing the whole video or anything, right? I just see that my August sales, right, I erroneously put 145,000 in here, but it's supposed to be 238, so I just changed that, and there it is. And you know, all these calculations over here change, and it was literally trivial to make that change. Okay, so that's, of course, I keep harping on this, and I guess I don't need to tell you guys, but that's why we like Excel. Okay, so the next assumption, so the next thing we need to worry about is over here in our inventory purchases. So this is, you know, basically we are a merchandising company. We buy finished goods, it seems, and we sell them at a profit. And it seems that, let's see, our third assumption, they're calling it raw materials. It's not really raw materials. Inventory purchases. Actually, hang on. 3 dot. Inventory purchases. Okay, so how should we say this? So 50% of next month's sales are purchased each month, right? Okay, so that is, again, it's another assumption, and it's another plug, so we can put that in a white cell with a outside box, and then so let's leave a blank line just so we don't screw ourselves up, right? Because this tells us how much we need to buy, just like up here. This tells us how much we're selling, and then we skip a line to go into the timing of payment of purchases. Okay, so this is going to be similar but not identical to the way that we set up our collections schedule. So the timing for our payment for purchases, so 60% of purchases. And once again, it's important to leave that alone so that we can calculate off of it. So purchases are paid in the following month. The month following purchases. And the rest are paid 2 months later. Ay, ay, ay. 2 months after purchase. You can tell it's getting on into the afternoon. I really should only do these things in the mornings. I start getting a little questionable. Oh my God, what did I do? There we go. Of next month's sales are purchased each month. And then, oh my God. I'm going to escape. There we go. The month following purchases. It's a good thing I don't need to have you guys think I'm perfect, huh? That was an interesting little exercise. All right, so the 60% is a number that we entered, and the remainder, we just got to do a calculation just like we did before. 1 minus 60%. Again, as those numbers change, we want to make sure always that these add up to 100%. That's the whole point here. It has to add up to 100%. And probably later on in the semester when we start looking at probabilities and risk, we're going to be using percentages that have to add up to 100 quite a lot. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do our cash collections, our payments now, our payments for inventory. So again, I'm not a big fan of the way that your textbook author set this up. I would have put more blank spots and made it more idiot proof, but what I will do here is say, okay, payment for purchases made last month. We'll say purchases made 1 month prior, and then this one will be payment for purchases made 2 months prior. Okay, so just like before, right? What we're doing, let's pick up our percentage. So this looks like his sheet, but it's not just a plug. It's an actual reference to an assumption page. So in April, we are going to purchase 50%. We are going to make that an absolute cell reference. Oops. We're going to purchase 50% of May's sales. There we go. Okay, so in May we are going to sell $365 worth of material, and in April we're going to buy that stuff for half of what we sold it for. Okay, so we can pull this out into September. October, it's not going to be relevant, right? And so now our, let's see, purchases 1 month prior are going to be paid in the following month. So we're going to pick up this assumption here. That's 60%, and we're going to autofill and pick up the 40% there. Okay, so 60% of what we purchased last month. So we don't have any data in April, but we do in May, right? So in May, we are going to pay for 60% of what we got in April. So we're going to take and multiply that, make it an absolute cell reference, and multiply it by what we bought, what we purchased in April. And because that was an absolute cell reference, we can safely drag it across to September. And likewise, in June, we are going to pick up 40%. I'm sorry, we're going to pay for 40% of what we purchased in April. So there it is. Okay, we pull that out into September, and now we have all of our collections from sales. Right, so this would be, collecting from our accounts receivable as well as our cash sales, and then all our payments for the purchases that we made for the products that we're going to sell. We will sum that up. And now my numbers look like Exhibit 4-2 on page 109, and this makes me happy. Okay. I think I will pause it there and go, this was a very brief one, and then go through the rest of the disbursements later.